the Crypt.
Hello, boys and ghouls. Welcome to episode 92 of Tales From The Crypt, the Tales From The Crypt podcast. My name is Jason, and tonight I'm joined by Jody.
Hello.
And Mondo.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, Mondo. And we have a very special guest tonight. We have writer, director, Kyra Gardner. Welcome.
Hello.
So glad to have you here. Your latest project, Living with Chucky, is doing gangbusters. With reviews and buzz, and I don't know if I told you this, but I saw it at Screamfest at the premiere.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't read that. My brain glossed over it.
No, I don't think I might not mention it in the thing, but yeah, I met up with Zorn there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and actually that's how I got to talk to Chelsea Rebecca about doing some voice work for the Dead Easy project. So it was a very cool night, and it was really cool to see your premiere and just all the support and love that was going out. And I rewatched it for the first time since then earlier today, and it just hits me on many levels. I'm not to like gush over it, but like, you know, there's like the Never Sleep Again and the Crystal Lake Memories.
Crystal Lake Memories, yeah.
Yeah, and those are all great docs, and this kind of fills that niche a little bit too, but then it goes into like this whole like family thing. It just gives this great big fuzzy family feeling that I really loved.
Oh, thank you.
And
then,
it looks like it just released on Screenbox, I think, today, right? Or May 1st, I think.
May 1st might be other countries. It was April 4th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw that it had been out for a little bit.
And also it's a great tribute to the hardships of filmmaking, which especially now with the WGA strike happening is like more important than ever.
Yeah, truly. It's like it goes to show. It's funny because people, when I was in film school, people were like, oh, Kyra, you know, her family's had it so easy, she's an industry kid. And I'm like, nah, I grew up in the writer's strike of 2008 and both my parents were very poor. Like they lost their jobs. So could have touched on stuff like that even in the documentary as well, because that was all still relevant. It still is.
And I don't think people realize, like, I have a friend that used to write for TV, and like there's a long period where there's just no work.
Yeah.
And they said, then he was kind of saying that like only like the Bruckheimers and like the people like the Vince Gillian, those are people that are making a ton of money, but most your average writers they're struggling like everybody else. It's not glamorous. It's rough. It's tough.
No, filmmaking is tough on so many levels. Like
it's a magical job, but it's also extremely demanding of your time and effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a producer for major TV series, and it's his kid's birthday, and he like flew back the night before, flew back the next morning just to go be there for the birthday. You know.
Yeah.
It's really rough.
I didn't realize how rough it is. It was probably karma. This past year in finishing the documentary, I was also dating somebody in the film industry as well, and they, you know, I was touring for the film festivals and always out of town, and then he was working on TV shows that were filming out of town, and same thing, we'd like meet up for like 2 days and then have to leave, and I was like, oh my god, could you imagine having kids with this? And I was like, oh my god, that was my parents. And then I was like, oh my god, it's wonderful. I understand everything now.
Yeah, but again,
tough.
It's a fantastic film. Again, for anyone who's even a mild fan of Chucky, you'll have a great time. But also, I love movies about film.
Me too.
Like I love. To me, I'm the kind of person where I like watching the making of documentaries more than the movies. A lot of the times, like probably a lot of classic movies, like the Alien movies. At this point, I'd watch the making ofs rather than the movies themselves. So this really scratched that itch. So I really like that.
No.
But tonight we're here to talk some Crypt. So, have you watched Tales from the Crypt before? Was this your first Crypt episode?
I've watched episodes of the new show. What is the new?
Oh, that's Creep Show.
Creep Show. I watched Creep Show because it still has the same puppet, right? Sometimes
it's a similar,
but yeah,
similar puppet. Okay, yeah, you can tell that I am a Gen Zer. Yeah, no, I guess combined Creep Show and Tales from the Crypt in my head. Yeah, so this was
Oh,
actually my
that's
first
fine.
time watching a Tales from the Crypt episode.
All right. Well, let's we'll get into that. Tonight we're talking about the season 6 episode Doctor of Horror from January 4th, 1995. Jody, give us a plot synopsis.
Okay, before I do that, I have to share a cool fact with Kyra since we're talking Tales from the Crypt. The Crypt Keeper, he has those very blue eyes.
Oh yeah.
They're Chucky's eyes.
Yeah,
That's right.
I knew that. So, yeah, a lot of people ask, a lot of people will DM me and be like, it's the same animatronics. And I'm like, Chucky's 3 feet tall. No.
Just
But
eyeballs.
it is the same eyes. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate you saying that.
So you're ahead of me. I
Yeah.
thought I was telling you
Well,
something cool, but you already
okay.
knew it.
Here's one. Brad Dorff is in an episode of Tales from the Crypt, and
That's
I
there's
did not know that.
there is a throwaway shot where the camera's kind of panning through a dark house. You could see a little figure running in the background. You hear a little chuckle.
Ah,
It has nothing to do with the episode. It's just like a little
A
Easter egg.
little Easter egg. I love that. I'll have to go
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah, I'll send you a clip.
all right, so let's talk about this episode. I didn't take extensive notes this time because I just wanted to watch this one because it looked like a fun one. And I think it is. A little spoiler. I do think it's a lot of fun, but I do have notes. Let's start with the fact that we get the Crypt Keeper as a barber this time with a big floppy mustache. Just hilarious stuff. I love he pulls off the patron's like hot towel off his face, and it's just this like skull with steam coming off of it. Great Crypt Keeper intro. When we get into our actual story, we meet our 2 main characters, Charlie and Richard, who are night watchmen at a morgue. And Ben Stein is their boss, and he's really hard on them. And he says, you need to make sure and guard this place. We can't have any bodies go missing. It would ruin our business, which, I mean, I guess that makes sense. And immediately after leaving, a dude shows up to steal a body. And I mean, immediately, like 30 seconds later, he had to be waiting around the corner. His name is Dr. Orloff. And he promises Charlie and Richard $500 each to help him steal a body. And Charlie and Richard are just some guys out, trying to make a living. And so they take it with no question. We found out in Dr. Orloff's crypt, I mean, it very much looks like a crypt, that he is looking for the human soul, and he thinks he knows where it's located in the body. And so he takes the body and slices down is it down the back or the front? I think it's down the back.
The back, like the base.
Yeah,
like
around the
space
spinal
spine,
column.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they slice, and he's looking for some little glowing object that he says is the soul. Richard's very into this whole thing. He's getting, disturbingly into it. And Charlie's grossed out by the whole thing. He also asked him to help with this freezer full of dead bodies that he needs to dispose of. And Richard says, it's going to cost you a lot more than $500. He goes, oh, how much? $600. Richard is not a great negotiator. I just bought a car like last week, and Richard would be somebody buying a much too expensive car. Anyway, but Charlie has a conscience through all this whole thing. He's talking with Richard as they're disposing of the bodies. He isn't comfortable with the idea. He's okay with the bodies, but stealing a soul is very upsetting for Charlie. So the next morning, they get back to the place. They're sleeping there with a bottle of whiskey, empty bottle of whiskey sitting nearby. Ben Stein comes in and he fires them. And Richard does not take it well and kills Ben Stein. He probably has a character name. I don't know. He's just Ben Stein. I guess he is other people, but he's always just Ben Stein as far as I'm concerned.
He's the Visine guy and the talk show guy and
the Reagan speechwriter guy.
Sure.
His character name is Andrews because
okay.
my spreadsheets.
Sure. Yeah. So Ben Stein apparently has a character name. I'll continue to call him Ben Stein the rest of this episode. But anyway, so he kills him, and they take him down to Dr. Orloff, who finds that little glowing soul spot, but it disappears. And that's when Charlie figures that the soul disappears once the body dies. So in order to do what Dr. Orloff is trying to do, you'd have to take it from a living person. And when Charlie leaves, Richard says, we have a Charlie problem here. I am fully on board with all this stuff with you. I want to do this, but Charlie's going to be an issue. And so Richard knocks Charlie out. Does he knock him out? I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he just knocks him out, takes him to Dr. Orloff, and he's still alive. So Dr. Orloff does his incision and finds Charlie's soul and takes it out, puts it in a little jar, and then lets Richard just chop up his friend for fun, because Richard is a psychopath at this point, I guess. And they throw Charlie's body into the well with others, including his removed head. But later, Charlie's dead body climbs out of the well, carrying his own head with some really fantastic makeup. Like the makeup in this episode, top notch, slimy, wet, rotting corpse body. It's just great. And he comes back to the lab, and we don't see it happen, but he cuts off Dr. Orloff's head and puts it in a little thing to weigh it. It reminded me a lot of the doctor's head in Reanimator, just sitting in that container. And then he starts to dismember Richard. And Richard says, "No, but you're a good guy." And Charlie says, "No, you took my soul out. And with no soul, Charlie is no longer a good guy." And that's where we end on Richard's screams. Good stuff.
All right. Kyra, you're our guest, so you can start us off. What did you think of this episode?
I feel like am I allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like I'm a bit of an asshole because I don't have anything to compare it to because I haven't watched a lot of episodes.
That's fine.
What years, I should know that, like being my dad's daughter, I should really fucking know this. But what were like the years that this show was really popular, Tales from the Crypt? Is it 80?
Like late,
90s.
It started in 89, but it really hit stride like 90, 92, 91.
Yeah. I imagine this is like a more grown-up gory version of Goosebumps, which is really, which I grew up on. So I was like, oh, okay. As I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's like Goosebumps. And then as soon as the crypt guy took the towel off and it was like a steaming acidy face, I was like, oh, just kidding. This is like for maybe late teenagers and everybody above. It was cool. I didn't expect as much gore. It's so funny, the Ben Stein, I know him from a voice on The Fairly Odd Parents as a really Harry. But yeah, and then the other actor from The Birdcage,
Hank Azaria,
yes. It's cool to see all these actors' faces that I recognize. I'm like, wow, everybody top notch was like a part of it. It's really cool. But I didn't expect his character to just be like, that's fine, I'll chop up my friend at the end and go crazy. It takes a lot to like also cut a head off. So like you got to be really fucked up.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. Fucked up. But I don't know. Am I supposed to keep going on?
No.
If you want.
As much as you
we
want.
Just ramble. So it's
All right, Mondo.
I don't know. See, now you caught me off guard. I didn't expect to go next.
Gotcha.
Popcorn.
No, I think this is one again, another good season 6 episode, which is kind of cool considering we haven't had a lot of great season 6 episodes. Travis Tritt surprisingly was decent in this.
Yeah.
Like what a fucking mullet.
Yeah.
That dude's hairstyle, like it was 1994, but that dude's hairstyle was like 1988. Like I don't know what was happening there.
He had some like lift going on.
Yeah. Like it was like feathered and a mullet at the same time.
Yes.
It's like if Uncle Jesse from Full House joined Leonard Skinner. It reminded me of. It was fucking ridiculous. I love Ben Stein. He's great. I love Hank Azaria. I thought the cast did a really good job playing off each other. I did like that out of nowhere though, this orderly. I like the fact the orderly's like, don't worry about it. We won't get caught. They'll just assume we got drunk on the job because we suck at our jobs and we do it all the time anyways.
Like that's a reasonable excuse not to get fired.
Yeah, so like Ben Stein kind of had it coming to him, right? Because you kept these guys employed. They're obviously like they got drunk. I don't know about you guys. Well, I work from home sometimes. I could probably get drunk on the job. My boss wouldn't tell on me because I'm my own boss sometimes. But but like in most places, if you get drunk on the job too many times, they don't one time. They don't let you keep your job. You have to go find a new job. Yeah. But I did love how there were just these bumbling kind of idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that trope in movies. But I did love how the one orderly suddenly, after the doctor's like, it takes a precise hand and a lot of training to do this, he just seemed ready to start taking souls after like watching this doctor do it 3 or 4 times, which I thought was super funny. But again, it's the antagonist probably got his in the end. And I always like that. It always makes me happy. So I'm going to call this a fun Tales from the Crypt episode.
It's fun.
That's
It's good.
good.
It's like a nice chunk too. It's not too long.
Mhm.
They can just like wrap it all up in one thing.
Yeah, that's a balancing act because they all have to be the exact same length. So sometimes they leave you wanting more. Sometimes you're like, oh, it's dragging. So it's good when it hits that mark.
And when it drags, it's bad because nothing should drag for 20 minutes. Like if it's 20 minutes
Right.
long,
No.
like there's been some episodes I've looked at the clock. I'm like, it's only been 8 minutes. I'm like, really? I have 13 more minutes to watch.
Dear
And there are
God.
other episodes kind of like this one where it just kind of hits you and it's like, oh, that's a good length, kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
Jody.
Is Travis, by the way, is Travis Tritt problematic nowadays?
I don't think so.
Probably not as much as Ben Stein, but that's a whole other.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, Ben Stein.
Yeah.
was-
I don't know anything about Ben Stein since he left. What was it? Win Ben Stein's money?
When Ben Stein's money, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
he's gone a little off the deep end.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be this lovable monotone guy for the rest of his life. And
Oh my God. Yeah.
He should have, but he didn't.
like I've always said there's certain actors or wrestlers I'm really happy. Like I'm not happy they died, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad they're not around for the Twitter era because I probably grow to hate them.
Mm.
Like Glenn Jacobs. If he just stayed a mute character like he was in wrestling, it'd be perfectly fine.
Like Jody.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with this episode. I thought the cast was really good. It was surprisingly good. You don't see a whole lot of Hank Azaria live action stuff in my world because I'm so used to him being a Simpsons voice. So he was really good. But Travis Tritt, yeah, he was a surprise because he was a lot of fun. He actually he wasn't like stunt casting in this episode. Like he had a whole character arc and he was like the sympathetic good guy and he got to be the monster at the end. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he did a good job with that turn.
Yeah.
It also goes to show you how Tales from the Crypt is like the perfect vessel for these first time actors because they can ham it up and cheese it up and it's okay. It fits. Like, I don't expect, freaking whatever. I can't think of a good actor off the top of my head. Almost a Will Ferrell level of acting. I love Will Ferrell, but I don't know if he's the epitome of great acting. But you know what I mean, though. He doesn't have to be up to a certain level. He can just be goofy and have a good time.
That must be fun for the actors as well. Like,
yeah,
and it's true because like I recently went and rewatched Goosebumps, and to me as a kid, that was like, oh my God, that was so fucking cool. All the SFX was so amazing, and I watched it as an adult, and I was like, this is so bad, like in a good way. Like it's supposed to look fake and all that stuff. It was for kids, but also just a lot of the acting is really horrible. And in this one, I like never was like rolling my eyes of like, ugh. So it makes me enticed to watch a lot more. I think that's the perception I might have had going into it, that it was like a Goosebumpsy thing, and I was like, as an adult. But yeah, everybody's acting was really nice. I love Hank.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt is known for being a little bit of a playground for an actor to come in and do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I watched some old Goosebumps with my kids not too long ago. Yeah. And I was shocked by how Canadian it is. It's so extremely Canadian.
Are they drinking? Are they going to Wawa's?
No, just a lot of
They're going to the
Wawa. Accents. I think
Yeah,
Ryan Gosling is in an episode too. Like early Ryan Gosling in some Goosebumps.
If like Scream, I think there's someone who's like, if Scream was in Canada, it'd be Ghostface running out the knife, like yelling, sorry, as he stabs people.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with this. Good acting, good. Like the pacing was good. Like I said in my little synopsis, the makeup at the end when he comes in holding his own head, super cool, gory makeup. Especially just the head being separated. Like it does some motion stuff that's really fun. But yeah, no, for a season 6 episode, this was really a highlight of this season for me so far. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
I liked it. I wasn't as high as like everyone else was. It just was a little on the predictable side, but I did like the acting and I liked the effects and the makeup and everything quite a bit.
Maybe you should have been higher when you watched it, and maybe
Maybe I should have been high when I watched it.
Yeah.
The one time I wasn't high this week, man.
Darn.
Maybe might have been the moment. I just need to turn my brain off a little bit. The whole soul thing was a little cheesy, like, oh, you have to wait for them to be slightly dead. Like that seems like a no-brainer if you're like trying to find a soul. Like,
Yeah, I'd immediately leave. Also, like, what was he planning to do with them? Was my question though.
Yeah.
Put it in a little jar.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
but we got to think bigger here, Doc. Like,
I know, yeah. I would think
jar.
there'd be more to
I know,
it. But yeah.
it's kind of like the 90s hackers where they're like, they don't want to do any damage to the federal database. They just want to know they can get there. I think he's want to know he could do it. He's want to take souls.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use it as like a nightlight or
There
something.
you
You know,
go.
like
He
just
just
put
wants
the
a
little
nightlight.
jar up and
He's tired of his flashlight going out, so he needs nightlight.
I mean, could you hold it ransom and like call the family and be like, look, dude, I got your uncle's soul. You can have it back for like $10,000.
I mean, maybe before Richard came in and cut his head off.
But yeah, overall it was fun. I was fine. This was directed by Larry Wilson, who wrote Beetlejuice and Addams Family.
Oh wow.
He's is also like his, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4th episode that he wrote for Tales from the Crypt. He did Easel Kill Ya, On Dead Man's Chest, Food for Thoughts.
Ooh.
And the season 7 episode we haven't covered yet, About Face.
I like the other ones though. So
he's got a really good resume. Great writer.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I think he's involved with the new Beetlejuice, which is apparently a thing now.
Is Tim Burton directing it?
I don't know.
I think so. Danny Elfman's been teasing.
Danny Elfman, yeah.
Board for music again.
Because Tim Burton's directing it, we know like 80% of the cast already. So
Right. plus Jenna Ortega, of course.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Hank Azaria plays Richard, who is in Heat, The Birdcage, and that Godzilla movie from the 90s. I'm still
98,
pissed
the
about
98
that.
Godzilla. It's time to
Yeah.
let it go. There's been enough Godzillas to redeem it. And that was
I
like a
believe
footnote.
He also plays King Tut's father in
The night, I love those movies.
Sequel.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen
Yeah,
it.
it's like
Those movies are surprisingly fun.
I know they
he
are.
has
They're
some of
good.
the best dialogue in that whole movie.
Yeah.
And of course, on The Simpsons, he plays Moe, Comic Book Guy, Apu, Chief Wiggum, and Dr. Nick, among many, 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 many others.
Many others.
Travis Tritt. So I had no clue who he was before this. He's a Grammy-winning country singer.
Really, you know who he was? I knew the name. Like the name was very, very iconic back in the. All my parents listened to country.
Yeah, I've never been that.
Man, I grew up. I've never listened to country much, but I grew up in Tennessee, so
Jody,
I am aware of all of this.
My
do
wife.
you own a guitar, Jody?
What's that?
Do you own a guitar?
I don't. My son has one though.
I feel like if you just picked it up because you have that accent, you're from Tennessee, you just be able to play it. Like you just.
I don't have enough of the accent. My accent's too mild. I need to have more accent.
When we meet up, I need you to bring a guitar up. I'm gonna teach you 3 chords, and by the end of the weekend, we're gonna be sitting out back, and Jody's gonna sing us some country songs.
So
see if you go too far with the accent, you learn to play banjo. So
you don't go to Tennessee.
A banjo is actually a really difficult instrument.
Oh, it is. Yeah, my
It's
brother
really-
plays both, and yeah.
I tried learning banjo, and I was like, no, fuck this. I'll stick the guitar.
All
I
right.
thought about it once, and then I was like, that's too much commitment for me.
It sounds really cool, and there's like a band I love, Amigo the Devil. He plays a lot of banjo, and he's awesome.
You
And
know,
then there's a black metal band, Take, and they have a banjo in some of their songs. And I saw them live, and they don't always bring the banjo. And I saw them live in Vegas. I had the banjo set up before the show. I was like, yes, we're gonna hear a banjo solo at this black metal show. And it was awesome.
Steve Martin is actually a really prolific banjo player.
He is.
Isn't it just sickening how talented Steve Martin is, like at
Yes.
everything?
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Like I imagine he's just better at everything than I am, and I'll ever beat anything. Like if he put a gi on and did jiu-jitsu tomorrow, he'd just kick my ass. Like I just know it because he's Steve Martin. He's just like the best at everything.
All right. So Travis Tritt was also in, speaking of crappy 2000s movies, Blues Brothers 2000.
Hey, I have a soft spot for that movie because John Goodman.
I mean,
And I do love John Goodman, but
yeah, but still.
Okay,
right.
but that movie, let's be honest, that movie though, when they're actually just singing songs, those parts are great.
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's
I'll
Songs are
stand
the
by
best
that.
part.
The rest of the movie around it is dog shit. But when
yeah.
they're just singing, it's good.
He also did a voice on King of the Hill for one episode.
Makes
What did he
sense.
do? Just say?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Damn it, I would know.
He also was in
I'll find out.
2001 Maniacs.
Oh, I like. Yeah,
Oh.
that's a cheesy fun movie.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun movie.
The Robert Englund one. That's actually
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Okay, he played Walt in King of the Hill, Mondo.
Oh. Does it say the episode?
Nah, probably if I look a little
I'm
more.
gonna look it up. I think he's the angry guy that builds dollhouse furniture.
That's fun.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
His favorite line is there's two things I love in this world: kicking ass and building little dollhouse furniture.
Mom, I think you got your bumper sticker right there.
Dude, I love King of the Hill.
Okay, Ben Stein, we know him from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, Ghostbusters 2, The Wonder Years, The Mask, Casper, and of course, When Ben Stein's Money. And then Olaf. I want to say I keep wanting to say Olaf, but Orloff
Count Orloff.
is played by Austin Pendleton. He was in the Barbara Streisand movie What's Up, Doc? He was in the first Muppet movie. He was also in Short Circuit, My Cousin Vinny. There's a ton of TV, Homicide: Life on the Streets, The West Wing, Oz. He was also in Finding Nemo.
Who's he voice in Finding Nemo?
I'm on it.
Yeah, Jody, you're my Google monkey tonight.
We have to know. I feel like I would have recognized it, but maybe
Okay,
not.
well, Jody's looking at Travis Tritt was actually in the King of the Hill episode where Hank rents a big rig to take his mom's stuff to deliver it to her. It's a great episode, and at the very end has the best song of all time, where they sing the song about Hank and Bob here going down the hill, something like that. I don't remember. It was great.
Yeah, Travis Tritt sings it.
I don't know. Someone sings it. Some country singer sings it.
Somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
He plays
But also-
Gurgle in Finding Nemo. I'm not sure who Gurgle is. Who's Gurgle?
Gurgle?
I think it's one of the voices in the fish tank.
Yeah, I was about to
That's
say.
what
Oh, yeah.
And
that
she
makes
was
sense.
obsessed with Short Circuit for a very long period of time.
It's such a great movie, though. That is
It
such a
is.
great movie.
I feel like it was underrated. Nobody I know my age knows that movie exists. So
Watching it as an adult sometimes, like it's a sad movie too. Like you feel so bad for yeah. Like it's I don't know. I'm really interested. I should probably look. There's probably people have written about like all the underlying themes in that movie because it's basically an inanimate object who becomes alive and all he wants to do is live a good life and all these people want to kill it.
All right.
yeah.
Is that
poor
the
Johnny
one though with like a lab assistant in brown face?
Is
Or am I thinking
it?
of a different one?
Excuse me, Jason. What?
I keep getting mixed up with a different movie where there's a lab assistant doing like an Indian accent.
Oh whoa! I don't remember. I don't recall that. If it
It's
was
been a
Short-
long time since I've seen.
Yeah, for
That would be
if
sad.
you want to
though.
for any complaints, email dadsfromthecrypt@gmail.com.
I know.
Oh, Jason, again, I'm Googling over here in my other window. And yeah, you're right. There is an Indian character played by a white man.
No. Damn.
Actually, no.
But
'cause
the-
I was
but-
reading
but
an
the-
article about
The
movies.
director and actor has said he regrets doing that.
Well,
when he-
duh.
Well, I mean, I think most people have been called out for doing blackface and say they regret it
Yeah.
after the fact. But yeah.
Yeah.
And
Fisher
again,
Stevens was the director. I didn't know that. I didn't know he
if it's a smaller time actor, like I have trouble blaming them because they're just trying to get some work.
Well, yeah.
And they're doing anything they're asked to do.
And I'm not saying like the movie should be burnt from memory or history. It's just
No. I still like the movie, but yeah.
I need to rewatch that.
But
All
speaking
right.
of King of the Hill, the reboot, like they've gotten back almost every voice actor
Yep.
except for Khan and obviously Luann and Lucky, whose actors have passed away. But
Yeah.
I'm super excited for the reboot. I'm like giddily excited because Mike Judge's new episodes of Beavis and Butthead are actually pretty damn good.
Yeah. I've been watching them. They're great.
I
Yeah,
totally
me
forgot
too.
that was a thing. I need to watch
Oh,
that.
Yeah, the new season just started a couple weeks ago.
I
Okay.
didn't know that either. That's so funny.
It's modern Beavis and Butthead.
and it's crazy. 'Cause yes,
What's it on?
Paramount? Yeah,
and Comedy
Paramount.
Central.
Is it on your Plex?
Yeah.
No
Jason,
comment.
we can't talk. What, Jason, what's Plex? Jody, you don't know. about this. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I went back like a few years ago and tried to rewatch the old episodes of Beavis and Butthead that came out when I was really young,
Mhm.
and they're almost unwatchable now. It's really like it's not that it was bad at the time. It was funny, but I was 10 years old.
Right.
Right.
But the new episodes, they basically wrote for people our age, like
Mhm.
when I say our age, I mean us old farts over here. I mean Jody and Jason are the old people. I'm just
Sure.
40.
I'll take
But
it.
but they kind of, you can tell they've updated the humor for us. Like
Yeah.
it's still crude, but it's goofier now.
Yeah.
That's fun. As they should have. It would have been weird to have tried to appeal to a newer
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
as
they did the right thing. Where I think newer people who are new to the show can watch it and laugh at it, and us that grew up with it. Whereas the old episodes now are a little bit too sophomoric. The new stuff is actually, I'm not going to say it's highbrow humor. By no means is it highbrow humor. But it's,
Yeah.
did you guys watch the movie they came out with?
The new one?
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
No, I as long as it came out, it came and went so quickly. I just totally forgot.
I'm going to say you don't have to watch the whole movie, but just Google Beavis and Butthead white privilege.
Oh,
And
God,
it is like
amazing.
one of the funniest like 10 minutes I've ever seen anywhere
Okay.
in my life.
Oh my God. Yay. That's like
It's-
South Park's whole like privacy episode where
Yes.
yes.
Mhm.
And,
Not
well,
comparing privacy and white privilege to the same
No.
thing. Just
No,
that.
it basically starts them going to a college class by accident and some person ripping them for having white privilege. It's like, oh, shoot, we have white privilege. So they basically steal a cop car. Like, don't worry about it. We have white privilege. Like, it's just them being, and I always say stuff like that. It's funny when it's assholes and idiots like that,
Right.
because they're idiots. Like, obviously, they're not serious.
They're the butt of the
Right.
joke.
Yeah, they're the butt head of the joke, you could say.
Butt head of the joke.
Beavis and butthead of the joke.
There you go.
All right, Jody, give us a comic comparison.
All right. So this story supposedly came from Vault of Horror number 13, June 1950. And as we're getting into season 7, I don't think it's any shock to hear that these stories don't have a whole lot to do with the episode once again. But what's interesting is this story was actually, the story in the comic was actually inspired by Robert Louis Stevenson's short story, The Body Snatcher. So they went for like classical influence here. Pencils by Graham Ingalls, and the more that we do this, the more I recognize his style. If everyone has stretched out faces and everyone's all kind of like, looks like they're falling apart, that's Graham Ingalls. In this story, it's 17th century, and there's Professor Le Monet, not lemonade, Le Monet.
Jody, you know how I feel about when you do accents.
But he's told that the attendance
Explain.
in his classes, we know. He's a teacher, and we're told that the attendance in his classes have to increase if he's going to keep being a teacher. And so he digs up cadavers to use for his anatomy classes. And enrollment blossoms, the dean's happy. And then Le Monet decides to kill his competition and wants to get the dean's job, and then wants to become a governor. And so he hires men to go out and kill some people and bring their cadavers into the school to impress the royal surgeon who's coming. But the men make a mistake and accidentally kill Le Monet himself, and his body is amongst the corpses that they bring. Apparently, supposed to be based, or the Robert Louis Stevenson story was based on a real incident that happened in England too. So it's that story turned into a Robert Louis Stevenson story, turned into a Tales from the Crypt episode, or Tales from the Crypt comic called Doctor of Horror. But all of that has nothing to do with the show we just watched. So
Yeah. I like that original idea better of
Yeah.
That's it.
repurposing, because it's a teacher on a budget,
mhm.
I think I actually knew that story. My sister is getting her PhD in biological anthropology, and so she
Wow.
works with cadavers and like on dead body farms. And I remember her telling me that. of
Yeah,
like
dead
guy
body
who-
farms.
Oh, there is a dead body, or there are dead
is.
body farms.
How's
You
that
can
not
donate
been the
your
name of
body
like a
to-
metal band or a movie?
Oh no, as a Tennessean here, my wife went to vet school at the University of Tennessee, and UT has a body farm. There's this mountain, and there's
Oh,
a guy, one of the professors is in charge of it,
Wow.
and they put dead bodies out there basically so they'll decompose and rot and all this stuff, so that scientists can come back and go, well, this is what a guy looks like who's been rotting for 8 weeks out in the sun. This is what a guy looks like after it's been raining for a month. Like,
Exactly. My sister goes to school in Tennessee because of their dead body.
yeah,
farm.
UT's
Oh,
body
wow.
farm is a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
But it
So
smells
like,
great
did
out
your,
there.
did your dad ever bring like anatomy books home for like inspiration? You find them when you were a kid?
I don't know if also I'm just like not a book reader, so I was never like, ooh, book, and would go see what it was. But there are several anatomy books at our house, and in my dad's shop, there's like several medical books as well. And I'm like, this makes sense.
That's
Mhm.
cool.
Now I forgot to ask you, have you ever had a life cast done?
Yes, my first life cast. Well, my first face cast was
Or face
when I
cast,
was
yeah.
in preschool
Whoa.
for show and tell. was what I did with my dad. That
You
was
won show and tell that day,
Yeah,
definitely.
Jesus.
Some kid was next, like with a stick, like, God damn it. Like, how do I match this?
how do I match this cool thing? No,
I just had a
actually,
cool stick.
I'm recalling my very first getting anything casted actually was my dad has this big art piece in our family home, and he casted I have two siblings. He casted our hands and feet when we were like several months old. So we actually have
Oh, that's
cast
cool.
of our baby hands and our baby feet. And then I did my first face cast in preschool, and then some hand stuff, and then not in that way. That was a weird way to explain that. I had a life cast of my hand, and then I got my first like head cast done when I was around 13, and then I recently had it done again over COVID, I think.
Mhm. It's cool. Yeah, you can get like a kit. So we did this for Mother's Day a couple years ago, where we put my kids' hands in like this bucket. There's like a bucket, you buy water and the chemical stuff, and you put their hands in it, and they hold it for like however long, and you pull them out, and then you like pour more stuff in, and they do a life cast. So
Yeah.
That sounds so much better than what we did when my kids were little, because we wanted to make little Christmas ornaments that had, baby footprints, because, you got baby feet. You might as well use them. And the problem is we had, I didn't have like life casting stuff. I had just like clay. And so we made little disc out of clay, and it was all fine up until it comes time to press the foot down in the clay. Clay is hard. And so we had to like smash the foot in there. And I'm like, I'm going to break some little toes here trying to push this into this stuff. I should have life casted. Now that I see it, now that I've heard all this, I know better from my 16 years ago self.
Well, if you ever have number 7, then you can.
If I have number 7, we're going to have other issues.
You have to have a conversation with the doctor.
with your urologist. Yeah.
Like, dude.
All right. Let's do our episode rating. We do 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. You can do half points. Kyra, what do you give this episode?
Oh God, you make me go first.
I know.
It
I
always
know,
makes
I
a guest go first.
I would say as a newcomer.
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like it probably won't be my favorite episode, but it was still pretty decent. I'm gonna give it a solid 3, maybe on 3.5, because we like the actors. So
Okay,
that's fine.
Good.
Yeah, super respectable.
All right, Jody.
Yeah, I'm tracking right there with Kyra. I think a 3.5 is perfect for this one. Lots of fun, not the best, but still a good time, especially this late in the series.
Mandu.
Pretty high of mine. I'm also 3.5. I don't quite think it's good enough to get that elusive 4, but it was a good episode. I liked it.
Mhm.
All right, I'll jump on the bandwagon with 3.5. I think the artistry in it is definitely worth noting.
Or just getting
a little
beaten
bit
down
extra.
by terrible episodes, like anything we're
I know,
doing.
that's also true. These are definitely on the curve.
No, I know, even not in the curve. I think this episode would fit in well in a lot of the sequence. It'd be okay.
Yeah.
I feel it's a good EC episode. You get the bad guy gets his comeuppance. You get some cool makeup and gore effects. You get some goofy acting. Like it's what I want when I turn the show on.
I mean, wait till we start doing Freddy's Nightmares. You'll be wishing for episodes this good.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Who did the S effects on this episode? Do you know?
Probably Todd Masters, but because he did
That
pretty
makes
much
sense.
all of them. But Jody can tell you.
I'm on it.
But yeah,
Oh.
it was either it was usually Todd Masters or at least someone that he is within his company.
Todd Masters is so fucking good.
I love Todd.
Am I talking to Todd? Sorry, I'm trying to borrow a dead dog from somebody. For what I'm
I
doing.
remember I did it. I did an interview with Todd Masters, and he was in his studio, and he had like a whole like row of just babies.
Yeah,
I assume he would have a dog.
it's the weirdest thing. My dad owns some baby skulls for some reason, and I'm pretty sure that's actually illegal now.
My favorite is that Todd
It-
Masters did the baby effects like inside the womb of Look Who's Talking.
Oh wow.
I was obsessed with
Yeah,
Look Who's
I
Talking.
love that
Oh yes,
movie.
it is. I am trying to borrow a dead dog from Todd. That's
That's awesome. Well, if your dad's ever finds his house is haunted, I have a good idea why. Could be the baby skulls.
Could be the baby skulls.
Might have something to do with that. Yeah.
Baby skulls, yeah. Well, and he's got some regular skulls too. And now my sister has some skeletons that she owns for class.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Weird.
All right. Now let's kick it over to Uncle Al. And we're back. Mondo, give us the song of the day.
Do I have a good one today? It's Travis Tritt. No, I'm just kidding. I don't listen to Travis Tritt. It's a band from the early 2000s called the County Medical Examiners. They were a kind of a grind in the vein of Carcass. Jason, you know who Carcass is, obviously. In that early, obviously, in that early core grind phase. What's fun about this band? It actually was two medical students that started the band.
That's cool.
And then they got like this doctor who was a 60-year-old man who has who hates metal to be the singer and the bass player. And he did it because he thought it was fun.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't think they've released a record since like 2007 or 2008. They did 2 albums and kind of disappeared. But the song I'm going to pick is off their first full length. I'm going to butcher the name. It's Forensic Fugues and Medicological Medleys.
My dyslexia can't even.
Yeah.
They're trying to be all fancy with the medical terms. The song I want to pick is Algor Mortis, the linear rate of cadaveric cooling, based on their discussion in the episode about cooling cadavers. I just think it's cool when you have people that are like in the medical field making gore metal about medical stuff, because the band that started the genre, Carcass, they were not medical students, but they used to joke that they would buy medical dictionaries to write song titles with and write lyrics with.
That's fun.
Yeah, and they're still around. They broke up for a little while and reformed. And they actually played Psychofest, and as old men just fucking killed it. But it's cool to see a band that's into that genre of music and to put out the medical stuff. And they're all medical students. I mean, granted, they started in 2002. I hope they've graduated at this point. In 21 years, I really hope they're. I really hope they stop making music because of the fact that there's doctors don't have time. But it's good stuff. So yeah, County Medical Examiners off the album Forensic Fugues and Medicological Medleys. The song Algor Mortis, the linear rate of cadaveric cooling.
Jesus Christ, what a mouthful.
Yeah.
And they're all like 2-minute, 3-minute songs because it's just
it takes longer to say the name than it does the song.
Yeah.
Like
there's
Jello titles here.
Or even if you look at like early Carcass song titles, some of them are just wacky as hell. Like later on, by the time they got like the Heartwork Swan Song era, they're doing just like they're kind of doing not parody songs, but they had a song like Keep On Rotting in the Free World. And it did a lot of goofy stuff like that, but the early stuff was all like really just medical based, and I'm sure some like medical students and doctors like that's not accurate, but it was ridiculous.
Nice. Alrighty, let's see what's next. All right, Jody, give us some horror news.
Okay, and before I do that, I did find out who the makeup department was on this episode. Todd was the main guy, Todd Masters. We got James Rowland and Rebecca Scott were both special makeup effects artists, and special effects were by Shannon Thompson.
Oh, great. So
So
cool.
You know who that is?
Yeah, my dad's, I don't know like in person a lot of these people, but a lot of freaking names, and then at some point you like meet them and you're like, oh, you're that person that my dad did that one weird thing and you killed a guy that one time, or we have a dead dog together. I don't know. But yeah.
Nice.
all right.
All I hope is that if my daughter ever gets to meet Jason or Jody, she just refers to you guys as the weird guys you do a podcast with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds appropriate.
That's totally fair.
That's my goal. The tall guy and the regular size guy.
All right. For news, The first piece of news I have is something personal for us on the show, because today it was announced that at this year's Chattanooga Film Fest, Tales From The Crypt is going to be a part of the film fest. We are going to be doing a live podcast recording because they're doing a lot of Tales From The Crypt theming this year, and so we fit right in with that. As I've already mentioned on the show, our good friends Al Katz and Gil Adler are going to be there doing all the Dead Easy stuff and talking about their podcast. And so now we get to be part of it too.
There's gonna be a pop-up Tales from the Crypt shop too with old comics and stuff. So
really,
it's a love letter to Tales from the Crypt. They're kind of doing a whole thing around it, and pretty honored to be a part of that. Like pretty surreal in all honesty. It has a
super cool. We've been big fans of Chattanooga Film Fest. Mondo and I both were there the first year when COVID hit. They went virtual, and so we were all able to attend. This year is the first year back since all that started, and we're going to be in person. I'm going. Mondo is going in person. Our friend Joe Ferry is going with us as well, and they are still doing a hybrid fest though. So whether you can make it out to Chattanooga or not, you can be a part of it. Chatfilmfest.org to buy your badges. The virtual fest, they do a great job of making sure, even if you're not on the ground, you're still having a great time. Lots of great movies, events. As far as virtual fests go, these guys are the best at it.
This is not a knock. So I've done a couple other virtual festivals that were cool, and this is not a knock on those festivals. A testament to how great Chattanooga is. I've had the best time with Chattanooga. The accessibility they make for everybody, like their goal is for everyone, whether you go in person or you buy a badge online, that you have an awesome time and see really cool stuff. And like with the stuff they do with Discord and how they broadcast some of the Q&As, it really makes you feel like you're a part of it, even though you're not there in person. So, but if you are there and you see Jody or I, please come say hello, and we'll hopefully have some stickers. Maybe
we'll try to get some stickers.
I was about to say last night I ordered a bunch of stickers. So once those get here, I'll email some to you.
If you come up and pet one of our beards, we'll give you a sticker. I'm just kidding. I prefer you ask for consent first, but a simple hello, I will give you a sticker.
But yeah, very excited about that. Very excited to be part of Chattanooga Film Fest, but also just to be at Chattanooga Film Fest this year. It's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. They're having it in a haunted hotel. I mean, like, this is awesome stuff. There's a riverboat involved at some point, Mondo. Like
what?
Like a Southern style riverboat that they have a big party on.
Oh, dude, we're going on a riverboat, and you can get zombie dust in Tennessee. I'm fucking in. Like,
my god! Wait, what the fuck is zombie dust?
Huh?
What's zombie dust?
Oh, it's a beer made by Three Floyd. It's one of my favorite beers, but you can't get it out here in Las Vegas or on the West Coast.
Okay.
You sure can get it here.
I had to ask.
I thought that was like some crocodile meth.
Yeah.
But fucking, we're gonna be three guys the weekend with no supervision. Who fucking knows what's gonna happen? Maybe we're gonna do crocodile.
If you want meth in Tennessee, you can find meth in Tennessee. I promise, it's not far.
I mean, I live in Las Vegas, and my office is next to a recycling plant. So half the time we have people out front of our office stripping copper to sell to the recycling plant next door. So there's
nice.
Plenty of. Well, the real sad thing is you'll see a car pull up in front of the recycling place. I'm not joking when I say this. I'm dead serious. By the end of the week, it'll have like no paneling on it anymore, because they're carrying the paneling out their own car to sell to the recycling plant so they can buy meth.
Oh, whoa.
Don't do meth, people. It's not good.
Don't do meth.
Yeah.
Well,
I bet it feels amazing, but don't do it.
It can't feel that good.
Right.
Part of our dad advice today: don't do meth, kids.
Yeah.
Kids, people wouldn't do drugs if they didn't make you feel awesome, but they fuck your life up.
Yeah.
Right. All right. More horror news.
I have my third beer.
NECA announced two new figures coming out. The Feral Predator from Prey, which I'm super excited about. I love it. It's my favorite movie of the year last year, and I love that big predator design. So that and the dog creature from The Thing, like the whole evolution of the dog from like a happy good boy to just a big splattery mess. You get all of it.
A happy good boy to a not so happy.
Wait, that's becoming a movie?
No, these are action figures.
Oh my God. I was like, what? Like just the
Just a
backstory of
movie
that.
about the
That's
dog.
crazy.
Just the dog.
That'd be
You're
amazing.
talking to nerdy as fuck people. Of course, we have action figures all over our
Oh my
offices.
God. No, it's great. I have
All
Twin
over.
Peaks action figures.
Oh, that's cool.
See, now I'm like, now I want to Google Twin Peaks action figures to figure out what I'm missing out on.
Dude, I'm definitely buying the dog. And what's going to happen is every day I'm going to transform it one stage. And then we'll just keep repeating that cycle for the end of time.
I'm
Oh, they're both
conflicted
pre-ordered
because
already.
I'm conflicted because that's the scene that like my now 17-year-old son like noped out on.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
want to
it's
get it, but then I'm afraid I'm going to re-traumatize him.
Real fast, Jody, did you pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store?
just like I always do. And if I find it somewhere else before they release it, I'll buy it somewhere else.
Shout out to Big Bad Toy Store if you guys want to sponsor us. Just saying.
Yeah,
'cause
I spent a lot of money there.
That's where my pre-orders are in as well.
Yeah. All right. Other news. This year, The Wicker Man turns 50, which I love. The Wicker Man, one of my favorite movies. And for the 50th anniversary, the film will be returning to some cinemas for one day on June 21st in 4K. Nice. So I need where that is playing. And it's also hitting 4K with a special collector's edition 5-disc set. So a huge bunch of extras and bonuses and features and everything.
I'm going to buy it and be super excited and then never watch it. That's how it goes for me. I love that
well,
movie.
here's a couple
movie.
other things you can buy and not watch. Other 4K releases that have been announced. Trick or Treat, not Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat, the like heavy metal 80s movie.
One,
yeah.
Oh.
They're getting a 4K. And The Burning is getting a 4K. And The
I
Burning
love
is
The
one of my
Burning.
favorite slashers. Whether it got Harvey Weinstein started or not, it's still
I
one
know.
of the best.
But also got Jason Alexander started too.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
You
Give me
know
take.
Seinfeld, that dude is supposed to be like 30 years old.
No.
That's a rough ass looking 30. Like, what the fuck?
I read that they intentionally made all Jason Alexander's clothes like a size or two too small in Seinfeld just to make him like more uncool.
Like us at 40, we kind of make fun of people who were 40 like in 1990 and how shitty they looked. I bet the kids nowadays do the same thing to us. Like, look at those old 40-year-old bastards in 2022.
Especially since we all like work from home and shit.
We can't talk. We grew up with like Y2K fashion, which was like the ugliest year. I think the ugliest shit of like layering shirts that didn't need to be layered.
Oh my God.
We have no premise to talk.
I don't. Did you guys have Jinko jeans though? Jeans you could hide a vacuum cleaner inside. They're so baggy.
No.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit earlier, but yeah.
If you want to mock, like I graduated in 01. If you want to mock like the fashion that kids are wearing, like when we grew up, look up Jinko jeans and you'll be like, what the fuck? We had it good.
Hey, man, I never had Jinkos because they were always too expensive for me as a kid. But I did have jeans with legs wide enough that I could stick my whole head up in the leg. I remember that.
Did you have spiky? Did you have frosted tips?
No, I did go blonde though at one point. Just
Jason?
like bleach blonde.
Jason, did you have frosted tips?
No, I didn't. I never had any hair.
You did.
I was born
this way.
Dude, Jason, your young pictures, you look like a straight jock that was like putting kids' heads in the toilets.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much.
Yeah.
I at least like what's funny is I've always felt like I've been ahead of the style curve. Like I had long hair for like 17 years, and then right when I cut it off, now long hair is fashionable. I'm like, God damn it, what happened the last 17 years when nobody liked us metalheads? We were just greasy bastards. Everyone wants long hair. I'm gonna do it again. I think I'm gonna grow it out again though.
Do it.
But I had it for so long, and then I cut it off. Now I'm like, fuck. Now I have to go back to this shit. Like, damn it, so much work.
Welcome to be.
Yeah, I've reached the point that I'm out of options now.
Yeah.
Well, because with male pattern baldness, you either do this or you get a horseshoe around the back of your head. That's bad.
Here's I'm gonna tell you, like, I didn't realize how easy guys have it till I cut all my hair off. And Kyra, you'll get this. Like, you can't wash your hair every day.
No.
You have to wash it. Yeah. Like, I wash my hair once a week. I had to use dry shampoo because like so it wouldn't smell. But like washing, it's a fucking ordeal. It takes like 10 minutes to wash your hair, and you have long hair. You have to use conditioner, then it's frizzy for a couple days. You have to put treatment in so it's not frizzy. It's so much work.
No, I understand because I have an 8-year-old daughter who I have to like comb the tangles of her hair, and she's just bawling her eyes out. It's a whole thing.
I'm saying like.
Yeah, I have no complaints about the maintenance level involved with this style here. It's pretty Pretty easy.
I chopped a good portion of my hair off once, but then I had like a mullet growing it out. That's what works for me.
I've said it before because again, growing up in Virginia in the 80s, being a huge fan of pro wrestling, all I wanted was a fucking mullet. Like I wanted a mullet so bad. And my grandpa wouldn't let me have one. And it's like in hindsight, I'm like, thanks.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Thanks for not letting me fucking do that. I did have a rat tail at one point though.
I was gonna say, what about the rat tail?
I had the rat tail.
I feel like I saw
honestly,
more rat tails than mullets. when I
Rat
was a
tail
kid.
might be worse
Yeah, I think it might be.
Worse.
than a mullet. Yeah.
You know,
It
I
might
think
be.
nowadays it would be like
Yeah.
Has there ever been a kill in the movie where someone got like their rat tail stuck in something and it like pulls their scalp off?
That would be so awesome. If it
should
was.
be though.
I
All
hope
right.
so.
If not,
Sneak it to your father.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you're younger than us. I have a question. Why are mullets and mustaches back in style? Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, like a 70s porn stash for men is like attractive right now.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Is it just
When
irony?
when we were growing up, if you had that mustache, you couldn't be within like 800 yards of a school. It was just not okay.
Also, maybe it has to do with the climate because was not like the 80s, like late 70s into 80s, around the time when like the term serial killer was like first coined and all this shit. Y'all had like Ted Bundy on the loose and Charles Manson and all this shit. But
No,
that's really weird.
that was before our time. We're not that
Yeah,
old.
we're not that old.
Okay, sorry. But like none of them even have had mustache. Well, I guess Charles Manson did. I also thought that my dad did this art exhibit thing for John Waters, like when I was a kid, and he made baby Michael Jackson and baby Charles Manson. And that was like the thing, and they were playing. I literally, until I shit you not, 3 years ago, I thought that little baby was a baby of my dad. I thought Charles Manson was my dad.
All right.
Charles-
Charles Manson, though, I'm not gonna lie, he looked cool. Like, except for the fucking swastika on the forehead. Like, fuck
Yeah,
you,
once
dude.
he went fully crazy.
But like the hair and the goatee, like he was a handsome young dude for the 70s. I get why people followed him.
I can't say the same for like Ted Bundy. I'm like, "Ugh," everybody's like, he was so good looking. I'm like, what was going on? I guess that's my like younger version asking, like, but it's past your guys' generation of like, what the fuck? But yeah, and mullets are back. Mullets are very popular for women too right now. Which I can't say what it is. I think it's every generation is gonna like something of a previous generation. I also think our generation we don't have a thing. I don't know if we have a thing that's our defining staple. Like Y2K, yes, I know exactly what was going on when I was like in elementary school leading up to middle school, but then after that it's like just going back to like 80s and 70s for some reason.
Well, I think a lot of us, I think a lot of our generations, like we had to borrow from the generations before us until we kind of found our niche. And what I want to say, like, because Jason, you're 42, 3.
42.
You're 40. You guys are both 42. Okay, they're
No, I'll be 42 later. Don't give me those extra few months
You
yet.
guys are older than me. Just get out of your old parts. But I think though our generation kind of did the same thing. Like it's a copy because to us, like the retro was always kind of cool. I remember in high school, bell bottoms came back in style for a while.
I
That
had
was the thing when I was in high school. Like, everyone was like rocking the bell bottoms or the.
I had some.
Yeah. So I think it's every generation trying to just find their grips.
Yeah,
And
we had the swing band revival.
Yep.
That's what that
I
was.
was into that too.
Who was
Power
it?
thing.
Squirrel Nut Zippers.
Yeah,
Scroll Nut
man.
Zippers,
Cherry
Cherry
Pop,
Poppin'
love that.
Daddies, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Like,
Yeah.
Damn.
I was
my
into all
mom
that.
threw out like all her clothes from the 80s because she was like, this shit's ugly. And then I'm like yelling at her because I'm the same size. I'm like, you ruined me. I could have had all this authentic 80s clothing. And you fucked up. And she was like, I had no idea that shit was going to come back in style.
I think I told these. I've sold some old band shirts I bought in high school for like hundreds of dollars a piece. I'm like, why do you want this? You know how much sweat this has in it still? Washed 1,000 times. This is my mosh pit shirt. It's I don't know. I mock it, but I also wonder though, like, so we're from the generation that fucking hated mullets and mustaches, and maybe it's a rebellion thing nowadays. The kids, oh, my parents hate mullets. I'm gonna get a fucking mullet. We're gonna see.
I mean,
what
it
happens.
probably is.
Yeah.
Jody,
Who knows?
Okay.
bring
One
us
more
home.
piece of horror news. we take our own tracks. It's not even off track.
Yeah,
We just
calm
get on
down,
a different
Jason. Just
track.
settle down. I know you're old and it's past your bedtime. You've already missed Matlock, so I'm sorry. But
I haven't had my dates for my late night dates yet.
I'm just gonna bring this up too because we're off track anyways. I accidentally watched the first ever episode of Murder She Wrote.
Oh,
Please watch this. The opening I'm watching, I'm like, this is like a Hammer film. And then they're basically filming a Hammer film in the first episode. It's so cool. And you can definitely tell someone had a love for old horror.
Nice.
You don't have to watch the episode, but watch the first 15 minutes of the first episode of Murder She Wrote. I think you'll have a good time with it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So last piece of news is releases, because I always like to talk about what's come out. Renfield just came to VOD like super fast.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters like opening weekend 2 weeks ago, and it's already out on VOD.
Dude, Evil Dead Rise is already out of the theater, I think, in a lot of places.
It is in some places. I think it's coming out next week. It's coming really fast. The Pope's Exorcist is out on VOD already. 65, that's the Adam Driver dinosaur movie, VOD.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
And there's one called Johnny and Clyde, and it's Megan Fox is the lead in it, and it's like a crime Bonnie and Clyde slasher thing. It's from the writer of Mondo. I know you'll recognize this movie. Do you remember Laid to Rest back in the
dude? Yes,
yeah,
all three of them, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So same writer as the Chrome Skull movie, but it's got Megan Fox and.
I'm
apparently it goes full slasher by the end of it. Apparently,
dude, I'll watch. I'm surprised that Chrome Skull or Laid to Rest doesn't have a bigger following. Like I thought.
I know, man. I thought that was an awesome one when I found it back at the Hollywood video days.
Something about that made me think of that Lindsay Lohan movie. I Know Who Killed Me.
Yeah,
they need a sequel with Megan Fox and Lindsay Lohan playing the same role.
The I Know Who Killed Me has kind of gotten a revival in the last couple of years. Like it shows up at like Jello Fest and stuff. I don't think I've
seen it.
Oh, it's so bad, but in a great way.
Yeah.
Jody's a good. I'll ask Jody's opinion. Jody's a good.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I don't remember it being terrible.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's like the Room level of like insanity.
Yeah. But one more release I wanted to talk about because I love these movies and I want to talk about them. They actually release tomorrow on their recording day, so May 5th. Third Saturday in October.
Yes.
Part 5, followed by the third Saturday in October, Part 1. That is the order you were supposed to watch them in. Okay, Part 5, then Part 1. These movies are a regional, like very regional. This is set in Alabama, and our friend John Shelton was watching them with us, talking about how he recognized the landmarks in Alabama that were in this movie. The third Saturday in October is supposed to be like when they have their big football like rivalry game for University of Alabama. And what's so great about them is they're trying to recreate the video store experience of, we've got all these great slasher franchises that have, 15 episodes. But when you watch them, did you watch the first one first and then watch your way through?
Usually.
I don't know.
I watched the first one and I skipped to the end.
Yeah, there were definitely franchises that I watched like the fifth one before I ever watched the first one, and that's kind of what they're going for here is like the Part 5 is like a 90s slasher. It's silly, it's over the top, it's big. And then you watch the first one, Part 1, and it's the more grounded, serious slasher. But you see all these callbacks from Part 5 that are in Part 1 because they were supposedly. This all came out last year.
Those
these are not old movies
year, right?
at all.
That was CFF last year, right?
Yeah, they were at Chattanooga Film Fest.
Yeah,
last year.
love those. I loved both of them so much.
They're
It's
super
so
cool.
much fun.
The regional specificity of it is really cool. The whole Part 5 followed by Part 1. They're coming out tomorrow on VOD. Definitely seek those out if you have any way of finding them. I'm sure they'll be on some streaming services.
They'll be on iTunes for sure, or whatever. Amazon Prime.
I'll check
definitely watch those. They're so good.
They're really fun, and yes, they're a little cheesy and low budget, but that's the point. They're supposed to be kind of bringing back that look of the mid 90s and the mid 80s.
And speaking of Evil Dead Rise, you can actually find on our podcast feed, Jason and I did a quick review of Evil Dead Rise with two contrasting. We both did enjoy the movie, but two contrasting opinions. Very spoilery though, so if you listen to that, please be aware. Like we do warn you, but it's gonna be a lot of spoilers. And
It's
I
also
had
on
seen
our
it.
YouTube. We also streamed it to YouTube.
Yeah, we stream it to YouTube because
Yeah.
we're fancy like that.
I would have joined for that episode, but I have kids who gave me a stomach bug, and I didn't get to watch Evil Dead
Dude.
yet. So
It's like your own little Deadite situation.
yeah,
You know how less I get sick now that my child is on their own.
I'm sure
It's amazing. I'm just kidding.
kids are germ sponges.
After she
All right.
graduated, it was like just so much easier to not get sick when she wasn't just bringing home germs. But we are right now because she's out of town. So we're going over. We're babysitting our granddaughter Toad. Toad the golden retriever, who is a pain in the ass. And I remember because she's 6 months old and weighs like 80 pounds.
Yes.
And I came home from work and she's standing on the ottoman. I'm like, dude, like 9 feet tall now, standing on the ottoman. And she's just, my other dogs, who are little old ladies, 14 and 15 years old respectively, do not like her. And she's terrified of my small dogs because they growl at her because they're like, dude, we are too old for your bullshit.
All right. Let's jump over to our Patreon pit where we post our weekly Would You Rather. We did a Chucky themed Would You Rather. The question is, would you rather be chased by a bear-sized Chucky, so like a 9-foot tall Chucky, or a Chucky-sized bear?
Oh, that's easy.
Dude,
Chucky.
if
Tiny
people
bear.
didn't say Chucky-sized bear, like they're just cute and adorable. You can pick them and play with
I was
them.
about to say that's a teddy bear.
But I would think that there's more ways a bear can kill you than the Chucky could.
Dude, you're way overthinking
I
this.
have I have watched this entire series multiple times. Chucky can kill you a lot of different ways.
Chucky really can fuck your day up.
Can I just be chased by a life-size Tiffany? Is that okay?
A bear.
You really just mean Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, you just meet Jennifer Tilly at that point.
Well, Jody, did you hear when we all decided how we were gonna have each other die?
No.
You were not on the episode, but we had to pick how we were gonna have each other die.
Okay.
You just have to go back and listen to the episode, dude. Like, can't believe you didn't listen to it.
So you were like,
Okay, I got to catch up. I'm
that's
behind.
by Jennifer Tilly? Or-
Yeah, Jason.
I was about to say for Mondo.
Mondo definitely was death by Tiffany.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. That's how I'm okay with. I'm okay dying this way.
We appreciate your service, your sacrifice.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, a small bear that's just like a cocaine bear. Okay, maybe I should have said a Chucky-sized cocaine bear.
Dude, sorry.
No, I mean it's tiny claws, man.
This is the easiest question of all time, dude. You can just hold the bear out like this, and you be okay. Like, it might scratch you, but you're not gonna die.
I
don't want to fight a fucking 8-foot tall Chucky.
I kind of want to see that though, just for shits and gigs. I kind of want to see a 9-foot Chucky because he's like 3'3" or something.
Yeah. Well, there's
So-
there's a scene I think in Cult of Chucky where someone's hallucinating and it's like a life size.
Yeah.
I love that shot. That was a great shot.
I had that thought when that movie came out. I was like, oh my god, what if he was that big?
What about
if it just was a
Chucky?
normal size like Chucky, but like still plastic? Like that sounds really terrifying. Like
What
a
about little
Uncanny
Chucky
Valley?
Versus, I more want to see little Chucky, the doll, versus Chucky from the Rugrats.
Chucky from the Rugrats is a whiny little baby. So,
But he's smart as shit, though. He'd figure it out, right?
Oh my god.
Make them
That's
fight.
so funny.
Jody, make them fight.
yeah, make them duel to the death. No, yeah,
Hang them
I'm like-
together on that's
Jody
good
wants
radio.
harmony in his action figure collection.
Yeah, that's a good question. Which Chucky?
Mhm.
Which Chucky do you prefer?
And we've been watching through the Chucky TV show, or me and some of my kids have been watching
Such a
through
good
it,
show.
and I love that show so much. We just finished season 1.
Oh,
I've already watched both seasons, but it's fun sharing it.
3
with them.
seasons now. 3, right? The 3.
No, just 2 so far. I think the third one's starting.
I mean,
soon.
yeah.
They just started filming on this past Monday.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's why my dad couldn't be here. He was
Aw.
on set today. So
I
that's his
loved, but
love.
well, you can tell we have much love on our show for both of those seasons because
Yes.
it'd be so
Oh.
easy to phone that show in and just write out the name. But holy shit, is it creative and just like it's so creative and so good. And Jason, have you watched the show yet?
Yeah, I'm almost done with season 1. I'm still catching
Okay.
up.
Well,
I'm
I'm not
mostly
going to
done.
spoil anything. I'm just going to say one word. Well, I'll say one statement, and Jason, you can close your ears if you want to. But all I wanted is for good Chucky to be good Chucky for the rest of the whole
Oh
season.
no, that scene.
Yes.
Oh, that scene.
When he's drawing the family with the crayons, I was like,
Oh my
I don't care how many
god.
people you've killed.
There's one death in season 2 that is just the absolute worst.
Oh, I know what you're talking about right now. We can't say it in front of Jason.
I will not, but holy crap, it's just the worst. But then there's another one at the very end that is one of the best. It's a
Yes.
character who I hated through both seasons, and she gets a real nice comeuppance.
That's nice when those moments are
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
I
not
love
just,
that show.
That
I'm not
makes me
just-
so happy. Just because, not that I'm really involved in the show in any capacity, but just like I know, Dawn it was really hard for me to just get in touch with Dawn for the documentary stuff.
Yeah.
And I like after watching because this was before I was finishing the doc when season 1 was filming, which is why I didn't go into the seasons as well, because it was crazy COVID, and also I'm like, I don't know these children in the new show. Like, they're not like my family. I didn't grow up with them. If anything, they grew up watching my dad's stuff. So no, and
cool.
Kev Yeager and all that
That's
stuff.
so cool.
But and like he's just so obsessive about his baby in the best way possible. And I know I understand it. It's like he really gives a fuck. And also like listening to the fans. My dad was so anal about listening to fans about the look of the doll going into the TV show.
Oh, it's so
It
good.
was bananas.
The look of the doll in the show may be one of my favorite Chucky looks from the entire series. I love it.
And the whole thing with the whole Chucky series is like it's great from start to finish. Like I don't think there's a bad movie, because it was so smart in leaning into like the meta and the cheese, like when they did, and then coming back with, dude, the Chucky. Like I said, it'd have been so easy to phone in a series and just make money off it, but it's so good.
And there's so much
It fits
heart.
with the lore, and it's
yeah, like I said, I'm not all the way through. I'm like almost done with season 1, but the main characters, the boys, and there's just so much heart. You just want to root for them. You just want to hug them.
yeah, it's such a good series.
But it feels like Don Mancini finally got to tell some of the stories he wanted to tell with these characters. Like, it's one of those things he's wanted to do but couldn't make a commercially viable movie with gay leads, and then he got to do it.
And that's and that's the one of the things I love the most about the whole series, that there's been one person there shepherding it the whole time. Like, imagine if Wes Craven was there for every Nightmare movie and
yeah.
And I may be biased, but holy shit, was Jennifer Tilly great in this latest season?
Oh yeah,
she's basically playing 3 characters at the same time.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
It's bananas. And she's a lot of energy. She was honestly the hardest person to edit in the documentary because she did it so fast. Which was great because I got a lot in our like time that we had an interview, but I was like, oh my God, this woman does not like take a breath between sentences. Oh my God. But like, I'm so excited she got to play because she has all of that energy, and she'll like, she was going through like all her different voices. I didn't put it in the documentary, but at one point she's like, this is what Tiffany is, and this is what Jennifer is with Tiffany inside of her, and then this is what the doll. And I was like, oh my God, you're crazy in the best way possible. Let me kiss you.
I met her back when I was working at Sharper Image like 17 years ago, and she was the nicest person, just the nicest person.
She's so nice. She's so nice.
What the? Oh shit!
I think Jody got reconnecting. You should put that on YouTube or something, because I love it when actors like can show the variances in their performances. That's always interesting.
Just blipped out of existence in the middle of recording.
Yeah. I should put some stuff on YouTube of like stuff I didn't put in the doc or on the bonus features of just.
I would tell you, even do like a Patreon or something like that, or maybe you'll pay a few bucks for it, just to, not because you want to gouge people, obviously, make a few bucks on it, just because I'd pay for that. That's awesome content.
I honestly don't even know enough about Patreon, because my main people that I know that use Patreon are like sex workers. So, which like power to you, but I only thought about it in that capacity. But I appreciate
we have knowledge. We're not sex workers, right?
I mean, I haven't put my feet on there yet, but I can show you around.
Dude, Jason, if someone paid $30 for our feet, I'm in. Like, I'm just in. Like, is there
right?
If someone's into dad feet, I did get a pedicure today. So there you go.
Ooh, did you?
Yes.
Show the goods.
Yeah, pay.
Not for free.
Not for free.
Not free. I'm a friend.
That's a great idea, though. I might do that, because I'm not monetized on YouTube or anything. I honestly forgot I had a account. So.
There you go.
One of my like, I don't subscribe to a lot on Patreon, but I subscribe to some podcasts I really enjoy.
Mhm.
I subscribe to a couple of filmmakers I really enjoy because they post like behind the scenes stuff. And it's more so like, even if they didn't post that much, I want to support them and the art they're doing.
Oh, I
And
love
that
Yeah.
$3 a month helps. But
Yeah,
I
like
think
that-
like if you
like,
had some really cool behind the scenes stuff like that, I feel like people would pay for it, be happy to pay for it, and it just goes to supporting you as an artist.
Yeah,
and
like
what you wanna do
I
next.
yeah, I was on the Dead Meat Patreon like when they were first starting out, just because I enjoyed their content so much. So that's just a great way to show support. And actually, just a little bit of a teaser. Hopefully, by the end of the month, we're gonna have some very interesting stuff on our Patreon. So I'm just gonna leave that as a teaser for now.
That's
Got
cool
something
because
really
the
cool
teaser to
coming.
Jody and I as well.
I guess, yeah.
You guys
All
know.
tease all the time.
Wait, do we know about this and we just
Yeah.
forgot, or
You
we do?
forgot.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about offline. All right, let's move to our very last section because I'm an old man. So we do dad advice, especially when we have guests on. We ask them for what advice they'd like to share to our audience and their endeavors. Obviously, you've made a great documentary. So why don't you can you share something that you would impart to someone looking to make a documentary or, break into, being an awesome person like you are?
Your words, not mine. Thank you. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, there's so much I wish I knew, and that's what everybody
Or,
said.
yeah, or what? Yeah, what did you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
Well, for my documentary, it might be different for other people depending on what you want to set out to make a documentary on. But obviously, I had the huge IP issue of having child's play movies in my documentary, and that's what heavily slowed the process. I was also new to it and young and also a small girl, so nobody took me seriously when I was trying to figure shit out. And I had a producer that came on the project at one point when I basically was almost done and trying to help me sell it. And I was steered away from fair use law because I was told that I was never going to get this crazy IP cleared. And it was not the case at all. Fair use lawyers exist. Fair use attorneys exist. Actually, Heather Langenkamp has a special thank you in my credits because she was the one who recommended me her fair use attorney from I Am Nancy.
That's awesome.
Oh,
So
cool.
she really fucking saved the day.
I have Heather Langenkamp signed my copy of I Am Nancy.
Yes. Okay.
Please tell me that Heather's the nicest person in the world.
She's the sweetest. Such a sweetie pie. So cool.
Did you go? Were you at James and Chelsea's wedding?
That's where I freaking met her. I had
that's
no
awesome.
idea who I was like complaining to about all
That's
my
so
legal
cool.
problems.
God
And
damn
Heather
it,
was
that's
like,
cool.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
here you
that sounds
go.
the coolest wedding ever.
Yes. And so you can go to a fair use attorney, but also that is somebody who would cover like if you need to use news footage or things like that, or anything that's been broadcasted, or music or things like that. Find a fair use attorney. Go to like a documentary's IMDb that you like and see what their budget was. And then see if you have IMDb Pro, like who their fair use attorney was, because most of the time you can go to them. Or if you go to somebody who usually clears horror, they're usually willing to like work with you. I think a lot of the times I was hesitant to ask people or reach out to people for help because I'm like, oh, they're never going to come down on their rate. I have no money. I literally just made the movie out of my savings and a very small investment. And a lot of people, if they like your idea, they'll come down on it, like, and work with you.
That's cool.
So,
Yeah, I was reading about that because not only do you have Child's Play footage, you also have some footage from Gremlins.
Yes, yeah. There's a few other.
Yeah, there's a few other ones
in there, and it's fair use. It was fair use.
That's awesome.
And with that though, it's like when you go into making your documentary, if somebody's talking about something, also get a clip of them saying what movie specifically and go into detail about it, because then you can absolutely get that cleared as fair use. I ran into a few issues where people were talking about, hi dog. There's a dog.
I forgot to close my office door and she came running in. This is Abby. She is 15 years old.
Hello,
And,
Abby.
the sweetest chihuahua.
She's with us. But that's like the biggest piece of advice. And also speaking as somebody who has the privilege of a dad in the film industry, but specifically horror focused, I thought I could go in through connections and try to like sell my documentary through getting in the room somehow through people we knew. And it just never really worked out that way. And I was hesitant to sign with a sales agency or even find one because I knew that I could potentially get taken advantage of, or they were going to take a large percent. It was the most wonderful experience I've ever had. And I don't think my movie would have gotten sold anyway. And without them. So find a sales agent. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I just noticed too, you have a Beetle House beanie on. I went to the one in New York.
Did you like it?
I had a great time.
What is it? I was wondering that.
I went with Jody, our friend Allison. I met our friend Allison there from.
Is it the brewery?
No, it's a Tim
A
Burton
restaurant.
themed bar, and food, and they have a lot of also because Allison is sober. They had a lot of non-alcoholic drinks there too. We didn't eat there, but they also had a magician walking around that somehow had us all sign a playing card and somehow got it in my back pocket. I still don't know how.
No, it's really cool.
Yeah, those always weird me out.
They have like burlesque type shows, but it's funny because it'll be like Beetlejuice coming out. And then also our friend who is a little person who was Chucky on the red carpet for Cult of Chucky's premiere.
Oh, that's cool.
There was a Chucky burlesque-esque show,
cool.
which was really fun. And
Mondo, calm down.
yeah.
No. See, it's like I don't want to see Chucky in burlesque. I'm not a fan of the puppet. I love the puppet. Don't get me wrong, but like the actress who plays the character.
You just really have a thing for Jennifer Tilly.
She's on like I think I told my wife the day my list of horror crushes, and she's number one on my horror crushes.
Aw, I love that.
Along with actresses nobody will ever know except for Jody and the Edwidge Fenech. Anybody? No? See? Yeah. See, Jody knows Catriona McCall. Yeah, Jody knows Catriona McCall. And then the I can't remember her name. The woman that played the zombie in Return of the Living Dead 3.
Oh yeah. She's gonna be at I think she's gonna be at Monsterpalooza.
She also played Lady Heather in the CSI series, the Las Vegas series. That's my very short list of horror crushes.
I don't think it is considered horror, but Twin Peaks. Sherilyn Finn is my.
Oh yeah.
She's so, and I told her at Son of Monsterpalooza this last year. I was like, "You're my bisexual awakening. I hope you know that." And she was so excited. She was like, "Can I hug you?" And I was like, "Oh my God, please!"
Yes.
So that's my contribution.
Nice. All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. Kyra, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
Oh, thank you for having me. My Instagram is Kyra E. Gardner. And then my TikTok, for some reason, is a different name, which is Kyra Mira, I think.
Nice.
How do you spell Mira? M-Y-R-A?
Yeah.
Okay.
M-Y-R-A. But it's all, I have a link tree in my Instagram that I think links everything as well.
I'm too old for TikTok. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
All of you guys say that, and you just like take one day, and then you'll be like, "Oh, this makes so much sense."
Oh yeah. Now that I've got my algorithm trained, I love it. It's all the stuff that I care about.
I'm trying to figure it out, but like I'll get some cool videos and then get something weird. I'm like, I don't want to see that though. I want to see.
You just skip it. That's
It's
how you
just
train the
not
algorithm.
interested.
Show me the guy fucking teaching me how to use a tape measure correctly. That's what I want to see. that's what I'm into.
There's a whole dad TikTok out there. It exists.
Oh,
The dad side of TikTok.
But God forbid you swipe on the wrong thing and then don't pay attention to it, and next you know your fucking whole feed is booties.
Oh yeah, I was on frog TikTok for a hot minute. It was fun.
I don't even understand what's happening right now.
A funny thing. My guitar player. Well, I guess we're still in the band. I don't know. My guitar player KB, he's terrified of frogs. I've never met anyone terrified of frogs. Frogs are just these cute little fucking creatures. We went to California for a metal show. This guy's total like black metal, evil. I am the spawn of Satan. Terrified of frogs. So there's frogs in hell. He doesn't want to be there. And we were in California at a brewery, and they have an outdoor area, and we're just chilling outside, and we hear. He goes, we have to go now. I'm like, why? There's a frog out here. I'm like, yeah, dude, there's frogs.
See, if I step foot in the state of Tennessee, that I would hear one hiss and I'd just be running.
What was a hissing cockroach?
I mean, that's
No,
I
snake.
would rather have a snake than a cockroach personally, but yeah.
Well, no, you can step on the cockroach and just smash it.
Jason comes from California where all they have are puppy dogs and snails. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know.
they're kind of the best.
That's why it costs so much to
Hey,
live here.
California is amazing, but I have no sales tax here in Las Vegas. So I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
sales tax. I have
it's-
no state
You
tax.
are not wrong on that.
Yeah.
we have a body farm, you know. Bringing it back around to the body farm.
We have a body
Yes.
farm and we oppress women here in Tennessee. And
Yeah, sure.
That's gonna be the tagline for this episode. This we have a body farm.
But we've got a body farm. Valid.
All right. Next week we will be reviewing Comes the Dawn. We appreciate everyone for listening. We would really appreciate if you'll give us a rating review on iTunes and a rating on Spotify. Check out our Patreon for bonus content. Also check out our YouTube for videos of these podcasts. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
adios.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.